On the cross of Calvary, Jesus died for thee and me. There he shed his precious blood, that from sin we might be free. Oh, the cleansing stream doth flow, and it washes white as snow. It was for me that my Jesus died on the cross of Calvary. On Calvary, on Calvary, on Calvary, it was for me that Jesus died on the cross of Calvary.
I find that there is a reoccurring message that comes through the time and time again every Easter, and it is reflected in the chorus of the old gospel song we just heard. It was for me that Jesus died on the cross of Calvary. If Easter is to have any real meaning to us, we need to take on board that message and apply it to our meditation on this Good Friday. This morning I invite you to enter the Garden of Gethsemane and be a participator in the pathos and drama of that first Easter. It is night, and the evening breeze has a chill about it. The branches of the olive trees are already wet and heavy with dew. Here, in the garden, Jesus desires the companionship and support of his friends. The humanity of Jesus is evident. He does not wish to die, especially by the barbarous means of crucifixion. He pleads with his Father that another way may be found.
They went to the olive grove called Gethsemane, and Jesus said,
"Sit here while I go and pray."
He took Peter, James, and John with him, and he became deeply troubled and distressed.
"My soul is crushed with grief to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me."
He went on a little farther and fell to the ground. He prayed that if it were possible, the awful hour awaiting him might pass him by. He cried out,
"Abba, Father, everything is possible for you. Please take this cup of suffering away from me. Yet I want your will to be done, not mine."
Then he returned and found the disciples asleep.
"Simon, are you asleep? Couldn't you watch with me even 1 hour? Keep watch and pray so that you will not give in to temptation. For the spirit is willing, but the body is weak."
Then Jesus left them again and prayed the same prayer as before. When he returned to them again, he found them sleeping, for they couldn't keep their eyes open, and they didn't know what to say. When he returned to them the third time, he said,
"Go ahead and sleep. Have your rest. But know the time has come. The Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners."
When we keep in mind the reaction of the disciples, we might like to approach our presence in the garden perhaps a little differently.
Very early in the morning, the leading priests, the elders, and the teachers of religious law, the entire high council, met to discuss their next step. They bound Jesus, led him away, and took him to Pilate, the Roman governor. Then the leading priests kept accusing him of many crimes, and Pilate asked him,
"Aren't you going to answer them? What about all these charges they are bringing against you?"
But Jesus said nothing, much to Pilate's surprise. Now, it was the governor's custom each year during the Passover celebration to release one prisoner, anyone the people requested. One of the prisoners at that time was Barabbas, a revolutionary who had committed murder in an uprising. The crowd went to Pilate and asked him to release a prisoner as usual.
"Would you like me to release to you this King of the Jews?"
Pilate asked this, for he realized by now that the leading priests had arrested Jesus out of envy. But at this point, the leading priests stirred up the crowd to demand the release of Barabbas instead of Jesus.
"Then what should I do with this man you call the King of the Jews?"
They shouted back.
"Why? What crime has he committed?"
The mob roared even louder. So to pacify the crowd, Pilate released Barabbas to them. He ordered Jesus flogged with a lead-tipped whip, then turned him over to the Roman soldiers to be crucified. Then the soldiers nailed him to the cross. They divided his clothes and threw dice to decide who would get each piece. It was 9 o'clock in the morning when they crucified him. A sign announced the charge against him. It read, "The King of the Jews."
Himself.
Two
Let this
revolutionaries were
Messiah,
crucified
this
with him,
King of Israel, come
one on
down
his
from the
right
cross
and
so
one
we can
on his
see
left.
it and believe him.
Even the men who were crucified with Jesus ridiculed him. At noon, darkness fell across the whole land until 3 o'clock. Then at 3 o'clock, Jesus called out with a loud voice,
Eloi, Eloi, lema sabachthani,
which means, my God, why have you abandoned me?"
When I survey the wondrous cross on which the Prince of Glory died, my greatest gain I count but loss, and pour contempt on all my pride. Forbid it, Lord, that I should boast, save in the cross of Christ my Lord. All the vain things that charm me most, I sacrifice them to his blood. See from his head, from his hands, his feet, sorrow and love from mingling down. Did e'er such love and sorrow meet, or thorns compose so rich a crown? Were the whole realm of nature mine, that were a present far too small. Love so amazing, love so divine, demands my soul, demands my soul, my life,
It is also easy to get lost in the pathos and the sorrow of the crucifixion, and see it as only some distant drama, lost in antiquity. It is not. Its message and meaning impacts our lives in every moment of the day, and we do well to utter the prayer of the songwriter.
the Lord.